Me when it's on.
All right, recording has started.
Today in studio, I have David, News Now Houston, and PNP News. And I want to start off by thanking David for this interview, thank him for his activism, and to remind people that he's been active in accountability and responsibility and auditing before it had a name through other methods since about 1982, 1983. And we know what happened shortly thereafter, and I call it the hookup. And then recently he's been on the hookup again. And we have people that's after him. And David, I'll let you take it from there and tell your story in your own words.
Well, you know, the best thing I can equate this to, if you think of Charles Manson and his cult, you know, he called them family, the Manson family.
Yes.
You know, there's a group in California that are basically following that pattern. And it's what it truly is organized crime. But Charles Manson would bring people into his family, and basically they either did what he wanted or they were pushed out and punished. And the biggest punishment that Manson had, other than killing them, was to ostracize them. And so he would make other family members not communicate with them or treat them badly or talk badly about them to other people. And that was their punishment for non-compliance. And what we're seeing out of California now is this group of Murbites that have organized and are attacking, in this instance, me. I'm their number one target, not because of anything I have in my past, but simply because I won't comply with what they want. They have told me that I have to do certain videos about my past and my history, or else. They have told me I have to come and do interviews with Merv, or else. And I've refused. I basically told them, drop dead. Now, if you notice, the only people they attack are people that won't do what they want. James Freeman, Chief Jones, or you know, these are two good examples. News Now Patrick, another example. People that cow down to them and do the interviews and do whatever they want, like High Desert Community Watch, California Guardian. And there is some cross-contamination here between the Murbites and the Hemmings. You know, they're at odds with each other, but they have the same common goal, which is to bring me down by any means. So when they couldn't get to me, they started doing other things, going after my family. They were able to get photographs of my grandkids. They would come to my residence, take photographs of my residence and photographs of my grandkids when they were here. And they would publish those, trying to provoke me, trying to get me to do what they want. They
gaslighting.
I'm sorry?
Gaslighting.
Yeah. And, you know, they call me at all hours of the night. They harass me any way they can. Now, you know, what do they say about all this taking pictures of somebody's residence? Oh, well, you take pictures of public buildings. It's the same thing. No, it's not. Well, you harass police. It's not the same thing. I don't go to anybody's house, nor have I ever published any police officers' home addresses, family information, etc., so forth. Okay, I have always said family is off limits. I've always said that, and I've never allowed anybody, and people have published officers' information, personal information before, and I always delete it. I block it and delete it. I don't allow that because it's not about the family. It's about public servants in the course of their official duties and that department. And so I stay focused on that. However, you know, and I've not complained about them coming after me. But when they start going after family, you know, that's wrong. That's wrong on every level. And I can tell you, when I do it back to them, they're going to whine and cry about it. And, oh, you know, you're doing wrong. You're treating me wrong. But, you know, they've opened the door for this. And eventually we'll get to that.
Would you say that they operate much like the mafia in the 1960s?
The 50s and 60s, and probably earlier than that. That's exactly what they operate like. That's what I'm saying is that's what the Manson family operated like. And it's an organized criminal group, because some of the things they are doing are criminal. Harassing litigants in criminal cases or in civil cases, people who have made complaints, you know, so you're harassing them because of that. That is witness intimidation. That is victim intimidation.
Yes, it is.
You know, and they do it. That's exactly what they're doing. And that's why they also are harassing my family members. Okay. It's all about getting you to comply. And it's not just my family members. Okay. A lot of people have been on the live streams and see what goes on in the live streams. If I go to a live stream, what they do is they have people out here watching the live streams. And if they see me in a live stream, or they see somebody that they're targeting in a live stream, they'll go back to Discord, to Merv's room, and say, hey, they're over here on this. And they'll post a link in there. And then, you know, 5, 10 of them will come to that live stream and begin to attack people. They'll go after me first if I'm there. And then anybody that has said hello to me or whatever, they start attacking them. The idea is to force you to be afraid to say anything to me or say anything favorable about me. Okay. They're trying to, their goal, their end goal is to isolate me so that I have no support in the community. And I can tell you right now, I have a lot of support in the community.
Yeah, they're trying to isolate, seek, and destroy you and those around you. That's
correct.
That's
correct.
What I see.
Yeah,
and I see. You know, it's the you know, in Charles Manson, and of course, if you go back and look, I know it's a Hollywood movie, but if you go back and look at Helter Skelter and watch the movie, and you'll see, just like when they go to court, that he shaves his head, and then his girls, they shave their head to follow him in like kind. When the Merb family cult, like the Manson family cult, when he exhibits bad behavior, then they mimic that bad behavior, except they know the intent, or they believe what the intent of the leader is, because of programming and grooming that he does off on Discord. He gets the people on YouTube, then he takes them to a secret place and does all of his training, and then the emails and texts and phone calls, and then they go out and do the master's bidding.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And just a second, hold right there for a second. I'm going to fix this door. It's going back and forth, so the light will stay steady.
Okay. Yeah, somebody might think we're in the haunted mansion. Yes.
Let's see if that did it. There we go.
Do you think
wait.
that
Let me get back in position. Hold on.
All right. Do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, strike a pose.
Ready.
Do you think that they say they believe in free speech, but in fact they believe in their free speech, but not your free speech?
That is correct. You know, that's one of the things Merv likes to say. I believe in free speech. I believe in free speech, but he doesn't. If you ever listen to any of the interviews he does, when he doesn't agree with what you're saying, he begins to scream and yell like a 5-year-old so that you can't talk. And you know, it's not about having an exchange of information. It's about him having his way, screaming and yelling and throwing a temper tantrum, you know, when he's not getting what he wants. And you know, I've seen him abuse people in terrible, terrible ways. Blind Justice is a good example. This is a disabled veteran who is literally blind.
Right.
And when he went over there to do an interview with Merv just tongue lashed him to the point that I was so disgusted with it, I couldn't even watch it. It was ridiculous.
What do you think?
You know hold on, let's pause again for a second. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go ahead and plug these lights on there. He's got studio lights in here, so I'll plug those in. Then we'll have steady lighting.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to ask to turn some lights on.
Yeah.
I'm in my shed and it's not wired for electric. Hold on just a second.
Hey, Mr. Steve with P&P, is that you in that picture confronting a law enforcement officer
Yeah.
in El Paso?
Yeah.
And I
He
think
didn't like me very much.
Sir?
He didn't like me very much.
No, I don't think so. But I think you won the day. How you been doing, sir?
I've been fine. I've just
Yes.
listened to what y'all are discussing about. God, I don't even like using his name.
The termite?
Merb,
Yeah.
because he knew the day that he did the video attacking and adding my son into this, that his Merbettes, puppets, would start calling and harassing and doing shit. And they did. That started in that day, so it's, I got part of it on video when one of them called, and it's just, I'm sitting there laughing at him. And
Do you know, remember back in the 50s and 60s and part of the early 70s that even when the mafia did things, they had the mafioso rule, never touch the family. Never touch the family.
well, nothing's off bounds for these guys.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying, and if somebody did cross the line and touch a family member or expose the family by sharing an address, photographs, or things, then they took them out and smoked them. And that didn't mean like a cigarette. It meant they killed them, graveyard dead killed them. But over time, even the little bit of tiny code or morality they had eked away, and then it was like, survival of the fittest.
Yeah. Now, luckily, we're not violent people, but they are, because they've actually threatened violence against me.
Yes. I get those communications where we know where you live, and I know they do because they've taken pictures and video of my family and home and posted these things.
Yeah.
So, okay, now you don't look like a ghost in the middle of the night, David.
Much better.
Hey, let me ask you a question, David. You there?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to get this out there, okay? There was a time when you was in the military that you was gone for a certain amount of time, and that's called absent without leave. And what wasn't you doing something what most people consider good, and then you actually got an honorable discharge, so it couldn't have been that bad. What happened?
Okay, so I was, they're publishing anything they can find about me, including my military records.
Yes.
And I've never made any secret of the fact that I was in the military.
Right.
Yeah. So all that they're doing is trying to twist it and make something out of nothing. My military records confirm everything I've ever said. 3.5 years in the Army. I was an MP in the Army. After the Army, I went to the reserves and was part of an intelligence unit for 5 or 6 years. I'm honorably discharged from both active duty and reserve duties.
Yes.
And they're making a big deal about I had 6 weeks of AWOL time. I think it was 6 weeks. May have been only 4. I don't remember now. It's a month, basically. We'll call it a month of AWOL time where I went home and married my, we'll call her high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
the Army wouldn't give me leave for it. I got pissed off and jumped in my car, drove home, got married, had my honeymoon, and then I went back, you know. And I paid, they gave me an Article 15
Right.
for the time away. And Article 15 is basically they write you up and they say, okay, we're going to take 30 days pay and have you on barracks restriction for 30 days. I think that was, if I'm not mistaken, I think those were the punishments.
Yeah, you know, I had a friend that I'd promoted up to be the assistant chief of police, and he retired out of the Navy, God rest his soul. He's passed on recently. And what a lot of times we would actually stop people on the interstate, especially outside Tallahassee, for various reasons, and there'd be military people headed back to Jacksonville. And it'd come up that they were AWOL, absent without leave. And of course, they said, well, if y'all take me in, then they're going to send the chasers, escorts, or whoever out to get me, and it's going to look bad. If I return to the base and surrender, it looks like I did it. And because he was retired, he said, he'd tell me, Chief, they're telling the truth. And said these guys between about 18 and 25 years of age, they're real bad to do AWOL, and most people don't understand it. It looks bad on the record, but in reality, everybody in the military knows that most have done it at some time, even if it's a few days or a week. Family member got sick. My dad, when he was in the military, somebody passed in the family, and he was supposed to get to go, and he didn't. And he was packing up. He was fixing to go AWOL. But his captain knew it and pushed it through because he didn't want him because he was a good soldier, People.
The whole time that I was off, I was in touch with my first sergeant weekly, and I told him that I was going to come back, and I did. When I got everything set up and got my new wife positioned, I went back, walked in the front door of the company, and they said, "Well, glad you're back." And
yeah,
that was it. I mean, I didn't get a court martial. I didn't get thrown out of the Army. I didn't get anything like that. But the Army was different then, or the military in general back then, was
right.
different. Late 70s, early 80s. The Army was peacetime, and they'd done away with the draft, and the Army was in flux, and
right.
a lot of things were changing. But it doesn't matter. I mean, it wasn't a big deal, except to those who want to make a big deal about it. And it's never been hidden. I'd actually forgotten about it, to tell you the truth. But, if they're going to throw that up like it's something, hey, more power to you. If that's all you got, then, hey, have at it.
Do you feel like they take that much truth and add that much propaganda to it to where...
I think they take that much truth and make it into something that big. They take a nothing and try to make something out of it. A good example. I'll give you a real good example.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. The Leon Valley thumb drive. Okay. Now keep in mind, this was a counterintelligence operation, and everybody that was involved in it, all of the activists who had been arrested and stuff, were alerted to the fact that there was no thumb drive. Okay?
Right.
It was, the misinformation was directed at Leon Valley. Okay. And it had some effect. We've got documentation of exactly what happened as a result of that.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the one of our activists that was in the loop that became a MERB convert turned on us and gave us up. That would be the snitch out of, used to call himself Ohio Guardian 2.0, that hates auditors. He doesn't want anything to do with the auditing community. So he started a new channel. What's it called? First Amendment Audits Ohio. You can't make this stuff up. He was the one that snitched us off and gave us up, and gave up Bow, and offered to testify against Bow. So,
there is no honor among thieves and bad men. They're your friend long enough to break into somebody's house, but if you get caught on the way out, they'll roll on you like nobody's business. I mean, that they are who they are. They are what they are. But I see that MERB has a grooming technique, and part of it is he gets his family members, meaning the people that come to him, like the Manson family, and he he seeks them out, isolates them, deals with them, and then he gives them like pep rallies. And if they can't stand the pressure he puts on them, they basically call him on the phone, go to the Frumkin place where he works or something like that. But they make contact and then they talk. And he basically says, I'll turn off the spigot if you'll come on board. And I've even got emails from some people that said, you can quit fighting Merb and come to your home like it's a house. You can come to your home and pay your allegiance to the master, Merb, and admit he's the boss, and we'll lay off of you. Now, I'm a Christian, so I don't say bad things, but in my mind, I'm going like, these people's the devil incarnate.
Well,
I mean,
it seems to be a very common thing in California. It's not just Merv. I mean, look at Hemming. Hemming draws his crew in, and they pick weak-minded individuals, people who are easy to manipulate. For instance, Black Label. Black Label was the Texas crew promoted Black Label. We backed him 100%, and he couldn't take it when Merv started attacking him. He quit doing videos, started playing games online and stuff, and doing game videos. He couldn't take the heat they were putting on him. They were attacking him, calling him wife beater and all of that. And once he came over to them, once he fell in line with their narrative and started doing what they wanted to do, now all of a sudden the heat's off and he's good to go. But the reality is that
pay homage to the dominant one. Pay homage to the mafioso, the cult family leader.
Come fall in line with Manson Merb, and you'll be okay. You'll be okay. And that's what he's done. And now they leave him alone, because they beat him up and beat him up and beat him up, showed all his criminal history, and would hound him in the live streams and just dish it out until he couldn't take it anymore. And there's actually a process to this. Terrorists use this same technique. What is it called? Stockholm syndrome. So they're nice to you, then they're mean to you. They're nice to you, then they're mean to you. And it's a natural thing in a human being to want to be liked and accepted. So you start doing what you want, what they want you to do, in order to gain that acceptance from them. And that's the technique that they're using. I'm not a weak-minded individual, and I will not comply.
I would have never guessed that.
They tell you. I will not do it. And so they are intent upon going after me any and every way they can. They think that because they got the channel demonetized, that's going to stop me. It won't. The first year I did this, I spent $25,000 of my own money doing it because I believed in it. And I'm going to continue to do that. If I got to dig into my savings to do it, then that's what I'll do. I'm going to continue to do this. And there is nothing they can do to stop. If they take the channel down, I'll make a new channel. And by the way, the new channel that they swear is mine and they're going to go after isn't mine. But you see, it belongs to a family member. That's good enough. We're going to go get it. We're going to go get it. We're going to attack your family members. People who have nothing to do with this, they're going to attack them simply because it's not one of their group.
Yeah, I have people that I've actually met places that I didn't know from Adam's House Cat, and they say, Chief, can I talk to you? Sure. Well, can we talk over here? Yeah, but of course I'm suspicious what's going on. Well, I don't want to be attacked by them people, so I want to talk to you in private over here. And they get my phone number, text number, they email me, and they send me a lot of good information. And occasionally there'll be a donation here, a donation there to help out. They really believe in it, but their jobs that put food on their table are in jeopardy because these people attack them and they demonetize what they have. And some of the people that contact me, if I said their names, it wouldn't just be the people in this community, it'd be nationwide known. But because of politics or their position, they can't just come out and say so. And they can't just contribute a lot of money to me because, you know, people would say something, it would get out somehow, you know, because they got all these little moles and all these different little places that like drama. And you know, the team psychologists tell us that just like Merv, based on mannerisms, what he does, don't do, and videos that they've watched for over 6 months, then they've come to a consensus that his Hare psychopathy exam, that anybody can actually download it and do it on themselves or do it on somebody else, and it's the gold standard, from my understanding. He scores a 31, so he's right there with Charles Manson. And a sociopath sticks the knife in. The psychopath, which is 30 or better, twist the knife because they get enjoyment out of it. You know, arsonists, they get sexual gratification from starting fires. People that are narcissistic and psychopath, they get sexual gratification out of doing what they do to us. So, you know, I'm not saying, but, you know, what is Merv doing after he gets off the video? You know, I mean, and my understanding is he's living off of his wife's salary at the college she works at, because he don't make enough money on stipends and third-party entered apprentice because he's in rookie status right now. But I think things are going to backfire on him, and I think people's going to find out exactly where he works in due time, and I think they're going to start probably calling his boss. And his boss is getting him for cheap. And his boss will deal with a certain number of phone calls, but at some point, and I've even been told people know now where he works. I know. I haven't said, but I know. But them phones are going to start ringing, and his boss is going to say, and he's going to get a taste of his own medicine. But what will he do then? Will he come to Alabama and stalk me down and try and shoot me and kill me? Or will he go over there to Texas and try and stalk you down and kill you, or cause his minions to do his dirty work? I mean, you know, this is life-threatening. I've taken a lot of security measures. I hope you have too.
I have. You know, as a result of what these people are doing, you know, I'm not worried about me. Okay, I can take care of myself. All right, but you know, my grandkids, they're little kids. You know, you're talking, I think, 8 to 12. That's where most of them are in the range of 6 to 12, 8 to 12. You know, these are the ones they were taking pictures of. And one of them had walked down gone to the mailbox and was walking back. And this guy in a car pulls up, starts taking pictures and saying all kinds of crazy stuff, scared him to death. He ran back down here, and standing in the yard, the guy stops taking pictures. So he comes and gets me. When I come out, the guy just sits out there. No, because I'm on bond. That's what. Right. Yeah. Come have a confrontation. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to lure me into a confrontation so that they can get my bond revoked. That's why I had to hire a bodyguard because of the death threats. Okay, and I'm not talking about 1 or 5 or 10. Okay, we're talking about hundreds. And one of them is so bad that it's been handed off to the district attorney for charges. And, I don't know. I'll follow up this week and see if they've actually charged the guy or not. But you know, threatening to harm somebody is bad enough. Threatening to harm somebody's kids who have done nothing, absolutely nothing, is ridiculous. It is pathetic. But that's the kind of people we're dealing with. Teresa R. Texas.
She's off her medications.
I'm sorry, say again.
she's off her medications. You know that better than anybody. I mean, you tried to help her. I mean, look, she's got some problems. We know what they are, but we don't want to say. We even know some of the medications, but we're not going to say. We're being gentlemen. Just the fact is, she's got a lot of problems, and you tried to help her, but when she wouldn't give up her bad ways and bad habits, at some point you had to cut the line, and you had to go on with your life. And Merv actually, she was fighting Merv for a while, but he beat her down, brought her over there and groomed her and trained her. The same way pedophiles groom and train children, right?
Similar, very similar.
And a couple of people said, I'm not making this accusation, but a couple of people said they have reason to believe some funny little things about Merv because of his grooming techniques, his style. His office is, 100 foot or so away from a special needs children place, and he's working in family law to get access to broken home children and stuff, and other things that he does that people that watch him are starting to get questions about this guy. But he's done this with other auditors
it's
too.
Peculiar that he works that close to special needs children. And he works in family law where he's going to be working with a lot of special needs children. But what's his favorite word? Retard. He loves to use that word. He loves to use that. Now, I have a couple of my grandkids that are special needs. And that is one of the most offensive things that you can say to or around somebody that has special needs children. But he uses that term constantly. And it's unfortunate that he feels that way about people who disagree with him. You know, when people disagree with me, I respect your opinion. I may not agree with it, but I respect it. I'm certainly not going to call you, any kind of names, unless you're just being, really ridiculous with things, just won't let go. But,
that's what 5 and 6 year old children in kindergarten and first grade do. Oh, you're fat, you're ugly, or your mama's uglier than you.
Yeah.
I mean,
and those are the kind of attacks that he launches on people. That's what he was doing to Blind Justice. Oh, you're not really blind, you're lying, just like that, exactly like that. Now, this is a disabled veteran.
Yeah.
How do you treat, but even if he wasn't, how do you treat somebody like that? What kind of person treats somebody like that? It's not right. It's not fair. And
let me throw this out there, and I will do my best to remember to put links to all the things I'm saying down below.
Put a link. We want to put a link to the test. So that
to the Hare psychopathy exam. Yeah. But I'm going to put a link in. But this is 18 USC 1512. 18 USC 1512. Federal law, not state law, that deals with either killing, threatening to kill, or harassing, intimidating, and coercing witnesses. Okay? And you don't have to have a civil case filed yet or a criminal case. Just your intent or your understanding or the community understanding that you're going to do this, and people hinder you, harass you, intimidate you, and threaten you. Okay? Well, just like I filed a bar complaint on Merv. I called him John Boy. I filed a complaint on him. For the 5 or 6 weeks it's sitting there, he said 0 about me because his license was on the line. He said 0. The day that they tentatively gave him a pre-pass to a point, and basically have told me I'm going to have to file civil and criminal charges on him, and then they're going to jump back in and do what they do. Okay, I've said I'm going to do that. Well, that includes federal charges, but he continues to hinder, harass, intimidate me, and create that environment for others. You're in the same boat. I think some others in that same boat. So I think pretty soon he'll be talking to some FBI agents. And I ain't talking about the top 5% that's political people. I'm talking about the people that work in the field office that do a damn good job.
Well, and there's some other things at play here too. They have, I'll give you an example. I'm not going to go too far into my stuff,
Right.
But I'm going to use PayPal as an example. PayPal is a bank. Okay, they are
Yes.
federally regulated. All right, and if you are lying to them or harassing them to interfere with somebody's banking activities, that's
Yes.
criminal. That's a criminal charge. And
Fact.
that's what they did with Freeman. That group of Murbites were calling PayPal saying, "Oh, he's a terrorist. This is money's being used for terrorism," and or drug money or whatever it was that they told PayPal. And PayPal documented all that. They also kept the information from the people that were calling and emailing them. So all that information is Freeman's not stupid, and I've given Freeman some advice and given him some direction. Trust me, there's some people that are in trouble. There's people that are in trouble. And when they get arrested, they're going to, "Oh, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it." Sorry about your luck. Sorry about your luck. And they're doing the same thing to me. They're after my PayPal. I'm in touch with PayPal and have alerted them to what's going on, and they are documenting everything. Everything.
Yeah, well, the old men, the real old men used to say, "Well, it looks like those grown men are putting their panties on now." When they come after them, then they're going to say, "Bah, bah, 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 bah." It's going to be too late. This is a coordinated effort.
Correct.
This is a well orchestrated,
coordinated effort, criminal organized effort, organized criminal effort.
Yes,
that's important. That's important. Under the RICO statutes, that's very important. People need to start looking this stuff up. And Merv thinks that he has isolated himself from this. I'm not so sure, but
he will be held to the highest possible standard with a 4-year degree from a law school, having passed the state bar exam.
After how many tries?
He'll be held to the level of an attorney or a judge. So and an officer of the court. See, all attorneys are officers of the court, so that's an ex officio position of the government. So he's an ex officio government employee, for lack of a better word, and he's using and abusing his office to abuse other people, knowing damn well what he's doing. And I usually don't say those kind of words, but sometimes they slip out. I'm sorry. And people attack me saying, "Well, you're a minister, you're a minister." Well, look, ministers are men. Men are flawed. Men make mistakes. But the difference in a man and somebody that wants to be is they admit it. I make mistakes. I commit sin. I have to get right with God daily. And I talk to you, and you're the same way.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's. I don't make a secret about being a Christian. I don't make a secret. I go to church, okay? But thanks to Merv and Teresa and the others who have been calling my bondsman, calling the judge, I can't go to church now. They got so when I made bond, they put certain restrictions on me that say I can't go to parks or whatever, okay? I can't go to schools. And that's fine. I go to parks every once in a while, take my dog, walk my dog, or take the grandkids or whatever. I can work around that. It's fine. Okay. That wasn't good enough for them. So they started harassing the judge. Well, now the judge understands what's going on. Okay. So things are changing, but they started harassing the judge and my bondsman, and my bondsman records all the incoming phone calls. So I've heard the calls from these people. Teresa, yeah, I have that call. I have it.
Oh,
I have all the stuff that you sent to my bondsman. Got it. Or, well, I don't have it now. It's been surrendered to the district attorney. But so, and I don't mean in my case surrendered to the district attorney. I've surrendered to the district attorney because there is an organized criminal effort here. Anyway, I want to leave that alone. But so
when the police go out, there's a big dragnet that drops. So say you're connected with Teresa R. You're connected with Merv Hemming, and whether they're directly or indirectly all connected, and it's all in the same effort, there's a big dragnet. Now you might be 1, 2, or 3 pegs away, okay, but you're part of the collected effort. They arrest everybody in a blanket thing, so there may be warrants for 60 or 100 people, and then the district attorney or federal prosecutor and the police, then they start figuring out if there's any of them that should be released. But initially, you get a criminal record, and initially, you probably lose your job. Just like some family members of various people, they've lost their jobs from the verge of losing their jobs from this harassment. So they're going to file for damages, I believe.
Well, and they think
Hey.
that. Go ahead, Steve.
You know, I told you I'm basically just hosting this, and I'll add something when I feel like I need to. On the MERB topic, I haven't had any problems with hemming, as far as I know. Everything's come from MERB, so I'm directing this toward MERB and the puppets. All right. MERB did a video the other day attacking me and my son. He brought my son into this, and he knew that his MERBettes would start doing phone calls and harassing. Your phone calls and harassing, your phone calls and threats to my wife, to me, my granddaughter, my grandsons, my daughter are not going to stop me. All right. And I know that's from them because we got confirmation from inside the Discord, which I don't participate in, but I have friends in Discord, in MERB Discord, that have reported to me on who these people are, because I've recorded some of the phone calls, and they've confirmed by voice who they are. It's not going to stop me. And that's all I have to say.
That's what they do. That's what they do. They can't get to you, so they go after your family, just like Manson did, just like the mafia does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, MERB's making a mistake, and he thinks that everybody's over there that's kissing his butt is on his side, and some of them aren't.
I'm getting
exactly on his side.
I get the screenshots of what they're posting. I get all that too. They're stupid to not think that people are listening in, and they're stupid to think that everybody that's over there that's playing along with them isn't feeding information out. Yeah, phone calls, voice chats, private messages, they're, whatever. And see, they think, well, I'm in Timbuktu, so the only thing that applies to me are the laws here, nothing can happen to me. Okay, keep thinking that. Your victim is in Texas. Your victim, there are ways to charge you where the victim is, and you'll find that out. It's okay. I'm not going to worry about all that. I'm going to leave that to the government to handle. And everybody, well, the government is going to help you. Wait a minute. You better look back. Galveston County District Attorney, Galveston County Sheriff's Department. Have you ever seen me have trouble with them? No, because they are good people. They are honest people. But the vast majority of them are honest cops and honest prosecutors, and they stick up for what's right. And that's going to be.
They got that reputation. They have that reputation over there. Yeah. And I did not talk to the judge in your case, but I talked to somebody in his office, okay, who will remain nameless. And I just said, this is who I am. And the lady actually knew who I was because of all this stuff. A lot of people in the office have been auditing videos of some of our people, and then watching what's going on in California. And somebody actually went over to MERB's Discord out of their office. Oh, buddy, let me tell you what. So now they know what's going on. So I'm not saying the judge will, but it wouldn't surprise me now that the judge is becoming aware of these things, from my understanding, that he might not talk to the Attorney General in Texas or, reach out to the Attorney General in California or other people in the bar, and things might start flying.
Yeah, my attorney put together a packet and took to the judge and the district attorney. He had a conference with them. So what I was saying was, Teresa was called, and some others. I'm using just Teresa, but it's actually, there were several of them. Were calling the judge's office and the district attorney, and the district attorney opposed adding any conditions to my bond because they know this case is dead. But the judge, because of the public sentiment from the people, added a restriction that I could not be around any place that has a daycare or anything like that. And so my church, of course, has a daycare that is within 100. Well, it's in a separate building, but it's within 1,000 feet of the main chapel, and so I cannot go to church. Yeah, that's how it is. You can't go to church. They take that from a man. But
without being proven guilty, I mean, you have the presumption of innocence automatically.
No, these people, they don't care about innocence. They don't care about guilt. They care about shutting me down no matter what. And they think that I'm weak right now because I'm down, but I'm not out, and I'm not that far down. And I know that a lot of people are going to hear about this. I am not going to put Merv's phone number anywhere on this video or in the description. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that because his office will get phone calls, you know, and I'm not going to resort to doing that. But
bully tactics.
Yeah, but
they're bullies.
I'm not going to bully him. I got something better. But you know, there are people that have his number and his information, and I know they're going to post it. And you know, so if you're calling there, and expressing your unhappiness with the gentleman, you know, I would ask that you be respectful, not be making threats. I don't condone that.
No, me neither.
Yeah. But you know,
we're peace, love, and joy,
on your own. If you're calling, hey, have at it. I mean, they call me at all hours of night, you know, and Steve was talking about how they harassed his family members and stuff. You know, they have a list of all my kids, and they caught one of them here and followed him. He left here and went to work. They followed him to work. Want to guess what happened? He's now unemployed. So
that's sad.
It's just how desperate they are. It's how desperate they are. You know, the current allegations, I can't talk about them, but there is one daughter making an allegation, and two daughters are supporting her. They're not making accusations, they're supporting her. You know, they're being good sisters, they're supporting their sister.
Right.
Herb and them are saying, oh, 5 of his daughters and 1 of his granddaughters. No. One daughter. That's it. And
a little bit of truth, a lot of lie.
Exactly. That's what they do. They tell enough lies that people don't know what the truth is. They talk about me because they say, well, you won't come out and talk about it. I don't talk about stuff because it's none of your business. Right. It doesn't relate to what I do. My family has nothing to do with what I do. Yes, the police are trying to exploit that, okay? But that doesn't make it right. And if I were going after Teresa's kids or Teresa's grandkids, everybody, that group would be hollering for me to be hung. If I went after Merv's wife, I gave y'all all the information I have on Merv's wife, where she works, all of that, they'd be hollering for me to be hung. And yet they're publishing that information about my family and my kids. If I went to Merv's house and took pictures, they'd be hollering, hanging. Yet Merv sends people over here to do it to me.
But other people have taken pictures of the place he works and where he lives, and they've sent that to me and other people. Okay.
I don't have anything to do with that. I haven't
asked
anybody to do that. And,
I haven't published it.
Yeah, I don't need it. It's useless to me. You know, I have other avenues. And
of course.
Yeah. And Merv is working really hard to shut this channel down. Shut it off. That's what they want.
What are you doing? What are you doing that hurts him or bothers him or anybody else in normal sense? You're out there showing things for what they are. It's a specific type of news reporting, but what it's something about you that triggered him, and then he put him and the hounds of hell on you. And then like people like me that support you and believe in you, that sent them after me. And let me just take this one quick moment to correct myself. When I done a video before, I said stepdaughter, and I had a miscommunication a misunderstanding. I own that. That's my fault. I am clearing the air. It was a daughter, not a stepdaughter, because so many people get on they strain at gnats and swallow camels, okay? You know, I was just trying to be accurate, and I was inaccurate, and I own it. I'm responsible. Damon Chief Jones, I'm responsible. I corrected my error.
And this is what they do, okay? So they've done this to me. They'll ask me about something from 30 years ago, 35 years ago, okay?
Right.
And sometimes I'll answer. I mean, I don't have anything to hide. I mean, it's not a big deal, you know? I may elect to answer a question. I may not. But so I'll answer the question, and then they'll say, oh, well, you forgot this, this, and this. So, well, yeah, I mean, it's 35 years ago. I'm old. I don't remember every little detail about everything that occurred every day in my life 35 years ago. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons that I just don't talk about that stuff, because they're going to grab that and say, oh, you liar, you're a liar, you're lying, you forgot this detail. You know, yeah, you got it right. I forgot it. I forgot. Because 35 years ago, okay, I moved on. I have a life. I'm doing things. And you were asking, you know, what do I do that upsets these people so much? I show incompetent, crooked cops. That's what triggers them. They hate that I am so good at exposing incompetent, crooked cops. And that just drives them. They can't stand it. A lot of them over there are cops and cop apologists. And that just drives them crazy. That's why they want to shut down the channel right now while they think I'm weak. Because once this mess is resolved and over with, they know what's coming.
You know, they oftentimes, and I used to hear other officers in the street, especially in corrections when I worked there, they would say to the inmates a lot of times, don't mistake my kindness for weakness. I can tell you about it, but I can show you faster than I can tell you. And that's my mindset. I'm kind, but I'm not weak. I'm not weak-minded. If I was, many, many, many months ago, I would have gave up to Lord of the Flies, Merv, and his family, you know, but I'm not. And see,
Manson Merv.
Huh?
Oh, Manson Merv.
Manson Merv. Yeah, Manson Merv. He's on the loose again. His potentate, Charles Manson, passed away, so I guess he thinks he's now Charles Manson. He has to take the helm. Manson Merv. Let me tell you something. I want to say this real quick. When I worked for the Florida Department of Corrections, let me tell you, it's real political. You can go down and talk to anybody to this day, and it's still real political. But back then, it was even worse for my feelings. Well, a sergeant was trying to sleep. He's married. He's trying to sleep with a young female officer who's also married. And she knew I was a minister of the gospel, and she come to me for counseling. Okay. I said, look, adultery is wrong and fornication's wrong. And I said, you're coming to me in my capacity as a minister, not an officer, and you're coming to me person to person. And so I'm telling you this. It's wrong and you shouldn't do it. You should stay with your husband and try and work this out. If he can't work out and he gets a divorce from his wife and you get a divorce from yours and y'all wind up together, that's just the way it is. Well, she basically told him she couldn't be with him. He kept whining. Eventually, she said, well, I'd been counselor. You was on probation for 1 year, okay? I missed four shifts, I believe. One, my wife was deathly sick. I called my captain and got approval. 3 times I had a problem with my teeth. One time I actually had to leave in the middle of the shift because they had cracked, okay? Just my jeans, whatever, they cracked. And so I missed. Well, there was an unwritten rule in your first year of work, you'd miss no shifts because they let you go for anything. And they was critical sometimes on manpower. I missed 4 shifts. So the sergeant tells the warden who's fixing to retire, I'm calling in my favors. This guy pisses me off because I blocked him from getting in bed with this woman. He wanted her bad. She was a cute little petite girl. And when I say girl, she was 19 or 20. And he's like 45. Anyway, the warden fires me, and the captains and a couple of sergeants have been telling me, hey, it's politics. It's politics. Just take it and go. But what they did is there's a section says excessive absence, tardy to work, and part of the things is sleeping on duty. Well, it's in a column of possibilities. Well, in the drop box and below it, it says excessive absence. Okay. But because it's in there, then they take that and twist it around, sleeping on duty, and they keep telling me, hey, you sleeping on duty. And this is like 22, 23 years ago. And then they go back 30 years or thereabouts when a man or woman did back into my car and hit it, and there was other witnesses, and they don't tell you about these other witnesses. And they don't tell you that FDLE, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, cleared me and found no probable cause. They're saying, oh, you made a false report. Well, that's cleared up. So they tell, yeah, I was on suspension with pay, and it wound up being about 2 months. It should have been something about 3 days. So it's a very long paid vacation for me and my family. Okay. But I was cleared. Okay. FDLE, the state law enforcement, didn't have a dog in the fight, cleared me, and did something they never do. At a preliminary hearing, they cleared me. They didn't even get to nothing else because they said it was just so obvious. But when I was fired at Alpha. That's a fact. No ifs, ands, or buts. But I was reinstated, back paid, and come back to work and honorably retired. And I sent all the paperwork to California to prove all these things I said, just so they would know the man was not saying things that was correct about me and I didn't like it. He was twisting, turning, and telling that much truth and not telling the rest of the story. So
That's what they do.
Yeah, that's their MO.
Yeah, that's all they've got.
I know they're lying when their mouth is moving.
Yeah. Well, so I have avoided all the drama and let it go and let these people attack me. And because I just I don't see a purpose in getting into drama.
Right.
But enough is enough. So I'm going to clear the air on everything this week. I'm going to clear the air on everything, and I'm going to put all this drama out there so that everybody knows everything there is to know, and then we're not going to talk about it anymore. And if this channel gets taken down, I'll start another channel. And you'll know where to find me from PNP and SA Ecstasy Prez and all these other people. My family members' channel, they're trying to take that down as well. And again, these are people who have nothing to do with anything. They're going after them just because they're related to me. MERB is directing people to attack my family, my kids, my grandkids, not because they've done anything, because they haven't. Just because they're related to me, and that is wrong.
Yeah, he's the head of the snake. But a lot of times, Hemming is the assistant co-chair of the head of the snake in his own special compartmentalized way, but yet connected to the snake. Correct. So it's almost like I kind of think sometimes this is a better example. If you had two snakes that were like this here, and they were wrapped around, and then they had a whole bunch of snakes wrapped in the middle all the way down. It looks like a pile of snakes. But
they're all snakes. Yeah. Well, my battery's going dead, so I've got to get going. But we'll get together, do this again, and like I said, we'll go into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But we're going to clear the hair. We're going to clear the hair, and there's going to be a lot of unhappy auditors this week because I'm going to tell all.
Yeah. Beware. Yes.
Good night, y'all.
Good night. Thank you, Mr. Steve.
You're welcome.
Appreciate y'all. God bless you and your families. And I pray God put a hedge of protection about you and your families, and that the truth come up. They're not part of the truth, but all the truth. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.